Hi there, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. As I said last week on Make It With Me Monday, I am going to be on vacation this week. We are taking our eldest, Alex, on a short cruise. We're going to be we're leaving from Miami, going down to the Bahamas and coming back. Just a nice little celebration of him achieving a milestone of sorts and a break from the brothers. Sometimes you just need that sort of thing. So again, thank you for joining me tonight. Please leave comments, questions, etc. And as soon as I am able to, I will check in on those so that I can answer anything that comes up as you're watching. Pretty much everything I'm using tonight is going to come from the mini catalog that ends at the end of June. And then there's a few elements that come from our new annual catalog, and you'll actually find some crossover of things that are moving from here and into our new catalog. When I reference page numbers and such, I will definitely make sure I mention which one that those are coming from. All right, so for tonight, here is what you needed to have handy. You needed a piece of cardstock that was 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to be using basic black. And then in that same color, you need a square that's 3 by 3. So again, I'm using basic black. You need a neutral cardstock, excuse me, that is 3 1/4 by 4. I'm going to be using gray granite. And then the same color again in a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. So again, mine is gray granite. Then you need a piece of designer series paper that's 2 by 4. I'm going to be using this piece here, and it comes from, excuse me, goodness, I have a frog in the throat here. Okay, it comes from the Pretty Prince designer series paper. There we go. I had to find my note. So most of the color is on the opposite side here, and you've got blues and blackberry and Bermuda Bay and stuff like that. But on this one side here, it's definitely a gray granite and just a very mottled, neutral type of designer series paper. So that's the one I'm using there. Then you want to have a small phrase and stamps and inks, etc., to fill up your 2 3/4 square neutral piece. So I decided to use, like I said, I used a gray granite as my neutral. I wanted to show you guys that you can think beyond the box of just vanilla and white when you think of neutral. So some of the grays, and then I also like to use crumb cake as a neutral on occasion, depending on what kind of stamps that you're working with. So tonight I'm going to be using Wild and Sweet. This is one of the new stamp sets in the annual catalog, and you can find it on page 87. Just 3 sketched images, raccoon and a panda bear and a koala. I'm going to be using the koala bear tonight. What I kind of like about this one is that you don't necessarily have to color because it's not truly line art, it's sketched. So I'm not always patient enough to color my projects. I love when I have the time to do it. I do love coloring, and I especially love coloring with blends. But I'm going to take advantage of this one being a sketched stamp, and not having and letting that do the work. So I'm going to ink him up in just Memento Black, and that's part of the reason I went with this kind of a neutral, because I'm kind of getting a feel for the koala color without having to make him that or use that color to fill him in. All right, and then I'm just gonna stamp him onto there, and there is my koala bear. All right, so you guys go ahead, you can pause at this point, finish up your neutral square, and when you're ready, restart. This guy's gonna get mounted onto that 3 by 3 square that we had. I'm just gonna remove this for the rest of that, because since I have black card base, it's gonna be hard to see. All right, so there is my koala bear mounted on my black 3 by 3 square. I see I have a few remnants of of that cardstock sitting around here. Okay, now you are gonna wanna take your designer series paper and your other neutral square. These are gonna sit side by side on your card. Your phrase is gonna get stamped onto the bottom corner of this guy right here. So you're gonna take your neutral piece, that is the 3 1/4 by 4, and I'm going to use this little tiny phrase. It just says, "It's a good day," and it actually comes from the Hedgehog Bundle. But I thought it's short and sweet and little tiny, and it works perfectly for just a little simple message like I want to send. So there's the "It's a good day" just down in the corner. So you go ahead and add your phrase to that bottom section there. Remember, if you've used a darker cardstock as your base, you might want to have an insert in like white or vanilla, something easy to stamp on. I would also probably go With mine, I can add a gray granite to the inside for stamping and writing when it's time for me to send this out. So you're going to fold your card in half, and we're ready to get assembly started. All right, I'm going to take this piece here, add my adhesive. Oop, it got stuck. Hello, there you are. All right, now my card is going to open this direction. This side is going to go, or this piece is going to go to the right with a little border to the right. And then your DSP is going to fill in the other spot, and you're going to leave just a little room in between. So you're going to have a little border, little border, little border. So go ahead and add your adhesive to your designer series paper. And then at this point, you can decide if you want to pop up your focal point image or not. I'm just going to go ahead and tape this one directly down for the first one, and I'll show you some others where I've changed that up. Now you can decide if you want to have this based on where you've stamped and how big your phrase is. You can move this around up into this corner, have it be centered between the two, whatever you think feels organic to how your phrase is sitting in your corner, because you might have something that's taller or longer, that kind of thing. So this isn't necessarily a definitive. You must place it here. Like I said, work with what you've got and make it flow organically within your project. All right, so let me bring that up a little closer so you can see what I've done. So again, I just stamped the koala in Memento Black on my gray granite cardstock, added the DSP for a little interest, and a tiny phrase to the corner. Okay, let me show you some other samples. On this one, I used the Hedgehog Bundle, and that is in the mini catalog on page 64. It is going to move on to the annual catalog, but it will no longer be a bundle. So if you still want to take advantage of the discounted 10% by getting the stamp set and the punch together, you're going to need to do that before the end of June while they're still at a bundled price. The DSP comes from a new DSP collection in the annual catalog called He's the Man. There's lots of really good, there's a couple plaids and stripes, and then there's like grills and tools and things like that. It's definitely a good guy collection of images on the DSP. So that is on page 133. I also stamped this image and embossed it in clear embossing powder just to give it a little bit of darkening off of that. I didn't want it directly to be too dark. I wanted the hedgehog to be the focus. And then that phrase comes from that Happy Hedgehogs stamp set. All right, so this I said came from the Ladybug Bundle. I used that for my next card. So here is that Ladybug Bundle. That is going to move on to the next annual catalog and remain in a bundle. So I was excited to see them do that. This is actually the designer series paper in the new in color. So this is a Parakeet Party, but the cardstock I used is Granny Apple Green. So I want to see how nice they went together, especially with this one that has the plaid. It's got some light and some dark, and the darker part blended so nicely with my Granny Apple Green, which I like to use on that leaf color. And this is actually the Sweet Sorbet, so it's a little step down from the true real red. And then I got the You Can Bug Me Anytime as my phrase on that one. All right, this one, I flipped the orientation, and it was an afterthought, and I realized once I did that, the card opens the wrong way. So I'm going to have to redo that one when I want to send it out. But I thought you would all appreciate seeing the boo-boo of the card opening the wrong direction. This is the Amazing Silhouettes bundle, and it is going to continue on as a bundle, which is really nice. So the 3 images are set in the silhouette method. So when you ink up your stamp, you're actually stamping, and then you will see the image as the negative space. And then there's die sets to match that say, this one says thanks. And I did do this in the very vanilla, but then I tapped it with my blending brush that has Fresh Freesia ink on it. And I did it heavier to the right and lighter to the left. So it is actually kind of like almost an ombre look to it. I embossed this particular piece of vanilla with the Pretty Flowers embossing folder on page 177 in the annual. And then these opal rounds that come in the new, or the older in color collection, those can be found on page, no, I wrote it down, 142, there we go, in the new annual catalog. This is the Perfectly Penciled Designer Series paper, and it actually comes all black and white. And so what I did then is I took my blending brush with my Freesia ink and I brushed over all the parts that are white, and I went back in with my blend and I highlighted just the flower petals with my freesia blend. So I took the whiteness out of this because everything here is vanilla based, and I definitely didn't want to add, I didn't want the two neutrals to clash on this one. I thought it would look too much, especially with this large piece of vanilla. Sometimes white and vanilla can play nicely together, but I decided to keep it this way with these guys. And I think that was everything about that card. All right, here's the stepped up version of what I did on camera. Instead of just stamping him directly in Memento, I did it in Versamark and then embossed it in black embossing powder. So that really changes how deep that color comes out, as you can see. I added some ribbon, or some black twine, I should say, around the panels, and then just added a bow at the end. I embossed this particular sheet of the gray granite cardstock with the Timeless Type embossing folder, and that's in the annual catalog on page 177. Otherwise, everything is still the same. This is still Pretty Prince, this is still Wild and Sweet, and this is still the phrase from the Ladybug set. But now that I had these other things going on, especially with the embossed background, I didn't want to stamp directly on that, so I added it as an extra piece all on its own. So there's the little bit of a stepped up version. You can add more layers, add other embellishments, change where that phrasing comes out, whatever you want to do to step up what you've started there. And I want to show you where I got the inspiration from. I was in a swap of new stamp sets, and this one comes from Carrie McHale, and she used the Sweet Songbird, move that over, there we go, Sweet Songbird sets to create this one, and this is in the new Tahitian Tide color and DSP. So love, love, love that Sweet Songbirds. He's so, so, so cute. Okay, everybody, there you go. That is everything for tonight's Make It With Me Monday. Again, leave comments and questions, or else show me what you made. I would like to see that too. Hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you again live next Monday. Bye now.